is Wednesday. I'm outside the courthouse. It is now 10 something or other. And so why am I outside the courthouse? Well, this morning I scanned the thing that we have to scan, the QR code to get in every single day. The QR code asks us for our phone number, asks us some questions, some questionnaires, and then gives us a scan code so that we can get inside and have our temperature taken. Well, guess what? This morning, my registration failed. My access is access denied. So I was like, all right, fine, something's wrong with my phone, no problem. I did it again, it failed again. And then it said to call a number, so I did. I explained everything to the clerk. I told her, I've been here since day one. I don't know what's going on. She asked me for my phone number. She asked me my name. She said, yes, I see you here. I'm gonna resend the link. She resends the link, and once again, it fails. And so I had her on the phone still, and she said, okay, well, let me give you the email to the director, and then you have to email her now and ask her for guidance because that's really weird. I don't understand what's going on. So I emailed the lady, and I'm outside waiting to get entry or have this woman call me back so I can get entry into the courthouse that I've been coming in every single day since this trial began November 29th. So not to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but what the F, right? How come all of a sudden my access is denied?
All right. So that was New York Nadia. You can find her on YouTube. She's been covering this every day. I've been watching her streams to catch up a lot. She's got great coverage. She kind of just does like a midday stream like that, which I was waiting for today, and that's what came through today. I guess she couldn't get in. She's been there every day, I think, so far. And then at the end of the day, she kind of does like a live stream at, I believe, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So go check that out. She's been doing great coverage on that, and we wouldn't know a lot of the details that we're getting without that. So I'll jump right into the trial coverage. This week's been interesting. We've seen two. I don't know if they were both victims, because the one was like in the state's eyes. The one was on Monday, day 6. I don't know if she's a victim or I don't know what they're alleging with her. Everybody thought her testimony was kind of odd because she was 17 at the time and everything happened in Europe. So they're not actually pursuing charges on her behalf. I think she's just more of a witness to define the grooming behavior of Epstein and allegedly Maxwell. And she gave a sad story about being groomed. And she came from a troubled background. I believe let's go through the file over here. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. Get my notes up here to help me out. How's everybody doing today? Hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, again, so that was New York Nadia. So I was just wondering why she was I don't know. She might have gotten in since then. That was this recent post. I was hoping she would post before I went live so I could get some details, and that's what came through. So definitely stay tuned to that because she hasn't shared photos or anything. She just describes in detail what's been going on in the courtroom. Let me check the feed here. All right, good. All right. Looks like everything's good. All right, welcome, guys. Welcome. Where's everybody coming from? Finally raining here after like a couple weeks. It's been a long time. Now let some more people come in the room before I start to break it down, because I know what's going to happen if I start to cover it and people start to come in the room. I'm going to get a million questions about, oh, what happened? Tell us. Yo, what up, D247? Yeah. So we already have reports of a journalist not being able to get into the courtroom for whatever reason, so that's odd. But let me see here. Boom. All right. I guess I'll give the rundown. Because day 6, a lot of people, an issue that's been coming around got raised, and we'll talk about that in a moment after I cover day 6, and that's, is this just a show trial? Because that was a lot of people's opinions after this witness testified, Kate. She was 17 at the time, and she was in Europe, so she was of age. So they're not technically pursuing charges on her behalf, like I said. And while she gave a compelling testimony to begin with, during cross-examination, some weird things came up that, boom, 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 that kind of discredited her in a lot of people's eyes. So again, day 6 started with more evidence being excluded from the public view. No shock there. Kate, who now works with survivors of abuse, took to the stand. Let me see. Let me zoom in a bit. That light makes it even harder to read. Kate became acquaintances with Maxwell in Paris while she was under the impression that Maxwell wanted to be her friend. So she met Maxwell. She thought that she was like going to be like a friendly person, kind of like a role model. She looked up to Maxwell, a person with a lot of money, influence, power, things like that. An accent, a fancy, well-to-do person. So Kate really looked up to her and thought that thought they had like a cordial, friendly relationship. But it soon turned out to Kate that Maxwell was basically grooming her to, allegedly, by the testimony of Kate, to give Epstein massages. And by massages, well, Epstein has a black book of who he got massages from, because they weren't massages. They were, a little extra. She testifies that at some point she went up to Epstein's room and to give him a massage. And sometimes he would be naked. Sometimes he'd be in a robe. And just really terrible things happen there to a young, impressionable girl. And while the U.S. can't charge her because it happened overseas, or charge the Maxwell over her because it happened overseas, I believe she's just kind of there to show a pattern of behavior with Maxwell. But the problem came in during cross-examination when, first of all, she's dating older men already. I think her boyfriend was 35. So that doesn't look great when a 17-year-old, you're trying to show that she's a victim of grooming and she's dating a 35-year-old already. And I think her boyfriend was the one that actually linked up Maxwell and her. I believe that was the case. I know that was the case with the next witness, who was definitely a victim, that was Caroline, who testified yesterday. And she was 14 when she met Maxwell. We'll get into that in a moment. Oh, so one of the things they used to discredit her was, apparently she was paid by a tabloid, or she wasn't even paid by a tabloid, which was the weirdest part. A tabloid approached her and said, "Hey, can you try and sell cocaine to this member of the royal family?" And she said yes for whatever reason. Let me see, I can't wrangle noise. She said yes. And so essentially she sold cocaine to a member of the royal family for a tabloid magazine. So, and she admitted to this on the stand. She said, well, that's not exactly what happened, but it's basically well known that that's what happened. So that really ruined her credibility a lot. But a lot of these girls, they've experienced trauma early on. I know that one of the victims was abused. I forget which one. She was abused by her grandfather since she was 4 years of age. And I believe that was Caroline. So they're already being abused at a young age for the most part. So their minds are they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what's going on. So it's really hard to say, oh, she was 17, she's dating a 35-year-old, she knew what she was doing, right? Well, not when you are abused through your whole life and you don't have a solid ground to stand on. I mean, that's crazy. So a lot of people saw that. And then a banking expert came on and testified to transactions about a helicopter, some money transferred to Kate by Maxwell. And the defense tried to say, oh, you can't prove that Maxwell sent that, this and that. They have a terrible case. They have no defense. It's kind of, sometimes you wonder why they try, but I guess they have to. So Kate's testimony brought up a question of whether this is just a show trial. And a lot of people have been saying this. James Comey's daughter is the prosecutor. And, there's a lot of weird things that he's tied to. And, probably very corrupt individual. And so when you see that his daughter is the prosecution, you know, you start to wonder, is this just a show trial, right? A lot of people have been thinking that. But I don't know. I mean, apparently everybody says she's doing great work. So that's what everybody says. She's laying out a great case that, other than, you know, Kate, who wasn't very convincing to the court, or to the press and the media, she's actually doing a really good job, and especially with yesterday and Caroline, which we'll get to in a minute. So, you know, it's something to think about, that's for sure. It's something to think about, that whether this is just a show trial or not, and I know that that's going through pretty much everyone's head who's watching this. It's a decent question. It's a fair question. Yeah, Michigan, Mexico. Good Lord. How's everybody doing? I'm going to keep going through this. Oh, Lord. Where do we find this at? All right. I'm going to keep going through this, yeah. Oh, and there's some... Yeah, I wanted to get to these pictures, dude, because I have a theory here, and I'll get to it in a minute. But I think that the sketch artist really is starting to like Maxwell less and less and less. And it shows just in the way she's depicting Maxwell. You know, I'll get into that in a moment. We'll look at those images, because there were some weird drawings that came out. Like this one of... we'll get to it in a moment. I don't want to skip to that yet. That's some juicy stuff. All right, hold on. So, jumping ahead to day 7, which was Tuesday, yesterday, Caroline testifies after 2 FBI agents talked about evidence and how they got the evidence from the computers and copied it over. And the defense's strategy, one of the key questions asked was, oh, well, you don't know if when you copied the hard drive over, the information remained the same, do you? And he's like, well, I suppose I don't. I mean, it's kind of a weak argument. So I guess this time when they copied it, the defense is going to allege, well, you know, somebody could have inserted images when they transferred the files. Which I guess, I mean, you could, you know, that's definitely a possibility in some things. But, you know, let's be real here. I mean, it's just a weak defense. Boom, 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 boom. So, jumping ahead to day 7. Special Agent Kelly Mcguire. Agent Mcguire continues her testimony, as she had from yesterday, about the hard drives, the CDs, because there's just boxes and boxes of CDs and hard drives everywhere in Epstein's home, right? Just weird stuff. And a lot of them, if not all of them, contain nude images of young girls of varying ages. Some, the FBI says, were believed to be underage. It wouldn't be shocking. And that's actually what Kate testified to, or Caroline testified to today, is that when she was 14 or 15 or so, Maxwell took photos of her naked. So this is probably one of the most disturbing witnesses so far. And, you know, I always gloss over the details because we can use, you know, we don't need to know what happened. But, you know, there's sexual intercourse, you know, involved with this. And I'll just spare you the details. So the second witness to testify on the second day of the prosecution's... I worded that terribly. An FBI agent who managed some of the evidence investigation. So Stephen Flatley, another FBI agent, then Caroline. Boom. Next to stand was Caroline, which is the first name of the third alleged victim of Epstein and Maxwell's grooming scheme. And again, Epstein is known to have groomed women. Maxwell, not so much. Epstein has pleaded guilty to doing what he's being accused of in this courtroom now. So the only thing up for debate is whether Maxwell, who spent a long time with him while he was accused of doing this, if she was involved, which, I wonder. So basically, Caroline, similar story, met Maxwell, I believe through her boyfriend who worked at Epstein's place. So Epstein, you know, he was telling his employees, her boyfriend was 17 at the time, and he took to the stand after her. Her boyfriend was 17 at the time, and he brought her into it, maybe thinking that Epstein was literally just getting massages. Because he brought her over there knowing that she could get $300 a massage, and that the massages would take an hour and 5 minutes or so. And so who knows if he knew what was actually going on in there, or if he really thought they were legitimate massages. I mean, I imagine a 17-year-old guy wouldn't want somebody taking advantage of his girlfriend. I mean, I can only assume that he didn't know what was going on. And so unlike yesterday's testimony with Kate, Caroline was seen as a very good witness. So very damning evidence brought forth by her. And much more credible in certain ways. And she was actually 14 and not of age in a different country. Well, 17 is not of age in the U.S. It is overseas. So, you know, it kind of threw the trial off a little bit in a lot of people's opinions. So Epstein would pay Caroline $300 for each massage. She testified that Maxwell and Caroline undress, and Maxwell inspected her at some point and basically felt her, groped her, and while she's naked at the age of 14, and said, "Oh, you have a great body for Epstein. He's going to love you." Like, just really weird things. And Caroline would bring friends. She would get extra money for bringing a friend. She'd get $600. They'd get $300. So it's just God only knows how many hundreds of girls were involved with this. You know, we know of a few, but how many didn't want to come forth? How many don't even understand what happened to them? How many of them just forgot what happened because they didn't want to deal with it? And during some of these massages, apparently Epstein would either ring a bell or do some kind of hit a buzzer or something, and another young girl would come out of a waiting room of sorts and also engage in these acts. That was testified to at some point, and I mean, just real weird stuff. So, and it wasn't known that girl appeared to like live in the building. So, you know, what was really going on there? I think that the terrible stories we're hearing are really just the tip of the iceberg of what was actually going on, you know, with this pyramid of abuse. I mean, these girls that were only brought in and got paid to give Epstein massages probably didn't experience what much worse things that could have happened. And, you know, there's all kinds of stuff on that, but I'm not going to speculate too much because we know. And so, yeah, Caroline was seen as really credible. I'm sure the jury, I think she kind of solidified the case from what I've been reading. And the jury probably, I imagine they really were swayed by it as well. And now she, you know, one of the things she said, "I'm constantly afraid of my children being trafficked." So she's like still terrified to this day that her children could get involved in this. But the reality is, it's oftentimes that the parents aren't involved in the life. It's not like, usually it's not somebody just straight up kidnapping. Usually it's because the parents weren't involved. And Caroline, actually, her mother knew of this too, and apparently her mother would drive her sometimes to give Epstein massages. So she was roped in by the people around her. She was desperate for money. She was addicted to drugs at 14. So she didn't stand a chance in defending herself when this happened. So during the cross-examination, the defense showed the jury that Maxwell was not present during the first visit. So Maxwell wasn't there the first time, but she was present later. I mean, what kind of an argument is that? Oh, Maxwell didn't bring her into this. Somebody else did. And, you know, and so she attempted to impeach the witness by mentioning details that she had brought up during the trial that were not previously mentioned to the FBI. So Caroline had previously given a statement to the FBI, and there was differences in the details about, you know, she didn't mention Maxwell to the FBI, things like this. And why are you mentioning Maxwell now? Well, you know, she says basically that she was surprised when the FBI showed up to her door. She wasn't prepared to give a statement, and she just kind of gave one as it came, and she left out details. And it's not even that she made up details, that she's giving details that are different than then, but that she just left out some of the details, such as Maxwell, because they were focused on Epstein at the time when the FBI probably originally interviewed her. So yeah, they tried to impeach her doing that, and they're asking her questions, and apparently a lot of the questions were just really, the people in the press rooms were kind of really peeved about what was going on. It was just annoying. It seemed pointless to a lot of people, the line of questioning. And basically, it seemed like bullying to a lot of people, and she eventually breaks down crying at some point, and she says, right. So here's a line of questioning. So you were in Georgia to detox, right? No, I went to Georgia to escape traumatic events in my life. This is the defense talking. Let's talk about your claims of sex with Epstein. Isn't it true that you used cocaine while you were in Mr. Epstein's house? Caroline, no. Like, what difference would that make? And then Caroline says, what does that have to do with any of the reason we're here today? Ghislaine Maxwell fondled me and broke my soul. And then the defense moves to strike. Judge says you had to follow my rules. I guess that he struck that out of the evidence, but she's really breaking down on the stand here. I mean, she's broke down crying at a certain point, and we have an image of that. Let me see. Actually, I don't know if I have that image. Let me see. Boom, boom, boom. All right, I'll get to the images in a minute. We'll go through them after I cover this, and we'll run back to it again because I'm sure a lot of new people are here anyways. But running through Caroline's story, she breaks down crying. It probably made the defense look real bad too. Like not just Maxwell, but her lawyers too are probably really unlikable at this point to the jury. We know that they are to the press. A lot of people have commented on that it's kind of absurd what they're doing, right? How they're treating her. And they have these crazy theories like, oh, you were doing cocaine when you were at Epstein's, right? When you were having sex with him at the age of 14. And she's just like, what does it have to do with anything? So she's even, the witness is getting fed up at this point, and she, I would be too. I could only imagine what she's going through. Boom. And so then that brings us to today. Today, not much has happened that we've gotten reports on. We had Sean, the boyfriend of Caroline. So Sean, who worked with Epstein, began dating Caroline when she was 14 and he was 17. He testified at the session, so he was the one that roped her into that. And again, I don't know that he knew what was going on. He was 17. I know at 17 I was pretty clueless. And if I heard of an old man wanting a massage, I probably would think, oh, he just wants a massage. I thought that way until I was like 20-something. And then the world breaks you. Let me see. Oh, and then we had another employee of Epstein today testify. Nicole was hired by Epstein. She basically, I think she was just used. There was some kind of a record keeping of the phone calls received. And she testified that, yes, that is Caroline's number. She did call. I think they're just trying to put Caroline in the presence of the Epstein home. And if Maxwell's there and she's super close to Epstein, well, she must have known. Then we got Mr. Rogers, Epstein's second pilot. He was the pilot after the other guy. I think he's on the stand right now testifying. Right before I went live, they went to break. So there was not much of an update. He hasn't talked about installing electronics in all of Epstein's homes yet, but I'm sure we'll get to that point. And we don't know if he's viscous as the other guy. So that being said, I wanted to cover some other related things to the trial, kind of extending beyond it. A lot of them have to do with the sources that are helping me to understand what's going on in the courtroom that we can't film. One of those things is... Use some water here. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. So Intercity Press has been doing this. We all know that he's one of the people on the ground doing the hard work to get to the people what's happening. And he has been doing this a long time. So, and the reason I mention that is that he actually filed a motion with the court early on in an attempt to force the court to supply the audio that we all expected to have on Monday. And at one point, reading through his content, he's like, oh, well, there's no audio, so I got to go figure out what to do, basically. Which is, I know the feeling. So I subscribed to his newsletter, and this came from his newsletter. I couldn't find it to bring it up for you guys. But Inner City Press here. Let's pull him up. Let's pull our boy up. Again, go follow him on Twitter. I'd sign up. The most useful thing I found from him is his newsletter. I don't know. This dude is just... He's doing so much. You know, in between texting everything that's being said for the most part. He's doing a podcast on the breaks. Then he's doing like reports in the middle of it with his newsletter, and they're in depth. He's getting into detail in the reports especially. So, Inner City Press had in the Michael Avenatti case, I believe that was Stormy Daniels' lawyer, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember what happened to him. In the Michael Avenatti case, something very similar happened where the court said, you know, we're not going to provide the call-in audio. Well, he sued, or I don't know what you call it, filed a motion, and was able to get the public access to that recording. And in that case, the judge allowed it. In this case, I'll read from what his newsletter from the court said. He tried to file the same thing, and it was denied. And I think it's just really important to, you know, this is the kind of work that some of these people are doing. Even though it got denied, he tried something that probably nobody else even thought of. Pursuant to this court's August 7th, 2020 order. Oh, so this is his actual previous thing. Oh, sorry, I'm not going to read that then. So this is the email he got from the courts, or to the courts. I didn't have time to read it until just now, obviously. So, you know, long story short, he tried to do that in this case and was denied access. Boom. Now getting to why we're here. All right, I'm going to jump to the comments really fast. Make sure nobody's asking me things right. Got disconnected audio. How's everybody doing? Let me run a poll. Let me run a poll here. All right, let's see. And again, guys, I didn't mention it yet, this thing. You can see it on the screen. We have a Telegram group for this, for talking about trials and stuff. And there's a lot of, you know, different information in there about things that I won't even cover here. And if you want to get to that, it's t.me/trial talk. All right, here's the poll. Simplest one. What will the verdict be? What do you think the verdict's going to be? See what the... Oh, my God. Some of y'all's hidden comments make me laugh. I'm not hiding them. It's just YouTube, but... I don't know. I feel like I'll get kicked off for even allowing it, but it's you know, Michael. It's about a Michael being a man. All right. So I want to jump to the Doj report because this is a 300-page report that led to these charges. Again, we went through it last time. I'll summarize for you guys who weren't here. Epstein received a non-prosecution agreement in the early days of, there's got to be a date on there, like 2007 or something. And this went for months. Yeah, 2007. He had complaints from several victims, probably some of which... Oh, and I want to make that point too. I think that the next victim, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not totally off my game here, I haven't heard, and I could maybe have just looked this up, but Virginia Roberts keeps getting brought up, and she was a part of this original... she got money from the Epstein fund as well. And I think that she might be the next witness, if I'm not mistaken. She could maybe not be, but I don't know. She actually, I forget which one. That's why I didn't mention during the testimony. I haven't been great at keeping up with all the details. She was actually involved in recruiting one of the girls that was a witness too, because she got paid to bring them in. So, you know, and again, she was young. So she didn't know what was going on either, but she's just like, oh, money. You want money? Well, come give this guy a massage. I mean, knowing what she was getting into, you know. And now she's basically dedicated her life to helping victims of abuse. So I couldn't imagine even that. That's like even a level deeper than I can even begin to grasp. In 2007, Epstein had several complaints against him, Virginia Roberts and several others. And the FBI basically got him down from a 60-count indictment that they made. I haven't been able to find this 60-count indictment against him. They basically said, well, we'll drop this, and if you plead guilty to this state action, we won't even do this. And the whole idea behind it was that they could get a guilty plea from him, that they would set up a victims fund, and he would serve a little bit of time in jail, which ended up being only 13 months, half of the time he was working at his newly founded business. So really, justice was not served. Then, in 2018, this went overlooked for 11 years. In 2018, the Miami Herald published an extensive investigative report. Boom. That brought so much attention back to this that the FBI looked into this again. So this is the report basically... oh wait, I can pull this up. I meant to pull this up for you guys. This is the DOJ report that basically was the investigation into... Boom. Oh, I wanted to cover his images. I didn't cover that. Oh, Lord, you guys see his images. They're so hilarious, the pictures from the trial. But I'm already on this, so I'm not going to jump off of it for a moment. But, boom. All right, so this is the DOJ report from the Office of Professional Responsibility. It's a literally book. It's huge. All into whether, the FBI handled Epstein reasonably. And they basically do conclude that it was that other than the fact that they violated the victim's rights, because a victim of a crime like this has the right to be a part of the negotiation, they totally cut them out. Did this behind closed doors with Epstein, basically. The FBI determined that this wasn't irresponsible because they did secure the conviction, and otherwise they would have had a lengthy legal battle that they might not have been able to prove. And in some ways, I guess that's true. I mean, because Epstein had the great lawyers. I mean, amazing lawyers, and a team of them, a whole team. So it may have been possible that he would have gotten off with nothing if they pursued it. I don't know. That's, the FBI determined that was the case. So I don't know. So we got into the background of, point being that all led up to Epstein being put in prison, him killing himself, and then now Maxwell being tried. So without the Miami Herald's report, we probably wouldn't see Maxwell in jail, in jail right now, being on trial. So, it's kind of an amazing thing. But let me jump to these images, because that's more, I don't want to get too off topic. I mean, I want to continue to read through this. It'll be part of me covering the trial. We'll be going through this giant report and seeing what comes up of it. I found some interesting things. But first, I want to show you some of these images of the... They're so ridiculous. Dude, I think... Okay, here's my theory. I forgot I was going to get to this. I start talking and get off into a different subject. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm going to try and open all these at once and not mess up something. Oh, wait, I can only do one. All right. Let's see. All right, so I'll start with the lighthearted, not lighthearted, but kind of, just like, oh, here's Maxwell looking at Epstein on the screen, smiling, clearly mad. So here's my theory, that as this trial's gone on, I think that the sketch artist already didn't like her. I'm fairly certain that she doesn't like a lot of Democrats because she depicts her like, some people say Michelle Obama. I say she looks like Kamala Harris more so than Maxwell. But what it's coming more and more clear that there's a beef between Maxwell and this sketch artist, and this one image is going to prove it. It's hilarious. I can't believe I skipped this. Oh my gosh. So, she's clearly looking upset and angry. I think originally Maxwell didn't look so angry in the sketches, but she's just getting more and more angry looking. So then, you got that, right? Boom. You see her here with her arms crossed. This was an earlier image. I'm getting buried behind a screen of images. Boom. So, she's already kind of like that. She's kind of like, this was earlier on. She kind of looks a little bit, peeved. She clearly doesn't want to be there. But she's not really angry, I wouldn't say. But as time progresses, dude, things get a little wild. Bro, there's a beef going on between her and the sketch artist. Look at that. Tell me there isn't. Dude, there's like, the sketch artist is getting daggers from Maxwell, and the sketch artist is like, I'm gonna draw you just like that, you bitch. There's such a beef going on, dude. Oh my god, this isn't even the worst. This is I want to hold on to that for a moment because the next image is amazing. Okay, like that's hilarious to me. This is hilarious. There's clearly a beef going on. I think this is Caroline testifying up there in the black hair. All right, but this next one is just outrageous, dude. Get ready. Get ready. You have to see this one. Unless you're driving. Don't look. Watch the replay. Let's see. This one, dude. Okay. This is an image of Maxwell staring down the sketch artist and drawing the sketch artist. Bro. Come on. You cannot tell me there's not a beef going on here. I think this came last night. This was from yesterday. This is a picture of Maxwell drawing the sketch artist and staring her down. What a weirdo. Dude, who would do this? She must know that this looks crazy. Her lawyers should have stopped. Come on. That's hilarious. I mean, like, look. Little image. She's drawing the sketch artist staring her down. Like, oh, you want to sketch me? This woman's never, ever, ever faced the type of heat that she's facing now. I mean, like, obviously, but like I don't think she's ever been corrected or anything. Like, ever had a man tell her no, she never had a woman tell her no. She's just used to controlling everyone. And she is livid and she can't even hide it. Wild. Wild. Oh, that's my new poll. All right, we got the poll. Oh, shoot! You guys are aiming a lot more towards guilty now. It makes sense because the testimony from yesterday was really, really harsh. So you guys said what will the juries decide? And you guys said 88% guilty. It was 70% last time I did a poll. All right, but I want to know what you guys think. Is there a beef between... Oh, it's going to make me take a second. Let me jump to the comments here. Dude, does that not dude, that's hilarious, right? That just shows, bro, that's wild. How can you not keep it together for like long enough? Oh, hung jury only, 10%. All right, is there a beef? Maxwell. Is there a beef between the sketch artist and Maxwell? Let's see what you guys think. I think, dude, that is so funny to me. This image is hilarious. All right. I'll just leave that up there. I'm just gonna leave that image up there. I'm gonna continue through this DOJ report. I'll leave the image up there a little smaller. You think the sketch? Brandon says, I don't think there's a beef. I think the sketch artist draws what she sees, and it could be. But I think Maxwell's got beef with her. There's hands down, Maxwell's got beef with the sketch artist. There's no way Maxwell isn't beefing with the sketch artist. Maybe the sketch artist is totally chill and just drawing what she sees for sure. But Maxwell is definitely shooting daggers, dude. Crazy. So, I mean, come on, dude. If the jury can see that, there's no way. If the jury's watching her sit there and sketch the sketch artist angrily, I mean, why even have another witness on the stand? At that point, it's just wild. All right. Oh wait, I already had a screen set up for this. Boom. All right. So continuing on through the DOJ special report from the Office of Professional Responsibility. Basically, the FBI created this 300 and something page report, and I'm just going through it as I cover this trial. Hopefully by the end I'll make it through. I mean, I'm obviously skipping some boring parts. But basically it gives us a timeline of the events that happened up till Maxwell being prosecuted. And I don't know if this directly caused Maxwell to be prosecuted or not. I'm sure that's in here somewhere, but it's a result of one newspaper, the Miami Herald, writing an investigative report. And that's, because I'm trying to stand up for some press here, because the press is very important. Like things like that, things like inner city press, like filing a motion to try and get the audio to the public. I mean, the press does great work, and we need to focus on those that do amazing work rather than the ones that we dislike. Because everybody talks about mainstream media lies. Yeah, I mean, I've known that since I was a child. But, we need to focus on supporting the press that matters, that actually does tell the truth, that actually goes out there and puts in the legwork, because it's not an easy job. And these people, like inner city press, is getting up every day and going to the courtroom. New York Nadia, which I started this video with, she wasn't able to get in today for whatever reason. So she doesn't know why. She may be in there now. I don't know. So weird things, but these people are putting in the legwork. All right, so I'm down here on page Roman numeral 9. No, I'm never going to be able to read that. There's probably no way you can read it either, I'd imagine. I'll try and keep up with the right page, but anyways. So now we get to this report. So the OPR concludes, the Office of Professional Responsibility concludes, that the decision to postpone notifying victims about the terms of the non-prosecution agreement, NPA, after it was signed, and the omission of the information about the NPA during the victim interviews and conversations with the victims' attorneys in 2008 do not constitute professional misconduct. See, I don't know how they say that because it's against the law. It was against the victim's rights, and they admit that in here. It was against the victim's rights, but they still say it wasn't misconduct. But their main defense for the agent who did this, Acosta? No. Whoever the special agent was that was in charge of this, he was elected by Trump for something. I got his letter right here. Yeah, Acosta. Alexander Acosta. So he ended up resigning as a result of that article being published by the Miami Herald. So it made a lot of changes. It's just one article. It made like huge changes. In Chapter 1, OPR describes relevant laws. So I don't. It's been a couple days since I read this, so I don't remember. I highlighted the good things. So among the criminal division components mentioned in this report are the Appellate Section, the Office of Enforcement Operations, the Computer Crime and Intellectual Property Section, and most prominently, the Child Exploitation and Obscenity Section. CEOs, which is Child Exploitation Obscenity Section, CEOs based in Washington comprise of attorneys and investigators who specialize in investigating and prosecuting child exploitation crimes, especially those involving technology. And as we've heard testimony of, there's a lot of technology used in Epstein's thing, right? CDs, hard drives, photos printed out of naked girls of unknown ages. So, and again, we're seeing the similar claims were made back in 2005. So, again, this Maxwell case is nothing new. These claims were originally raised in 2005. In March 2005, the parents of a 14-year-old girl, probably Caroline, 14 years old, saying the same things, Palm Beach home. Yeah, I think this is Caroline. The parents of a 14-year-old girl reported to the Palm Beach Police Department that a man had paid their daughter $300 to give him a massage at his Palm Beach home. And according to Caroline's testimony, if that is Caroline, I believe that was her mother was driving her there, so I don't know why her parents were complaining about it after they used it for the money. Like, I mean, maybe they had a guilty conscience and they finally came through. Through their interviews with victims, the police learned more about Epstein's conduct. Some girls had only one encounter with Epstein, while others had many encounters with him. The nature of the massages varied. According to the victims, some girls remained fully clothed while they massaged Epstein. Some wore only their underwear, and some were fully nude. Victims stated that during these massages, Epstein often pleasured himself. Some victims alleged that he touched them during the massage, usually fondling their breasts or touching their lower regions, directly through their clothing. Some victims reported that Epstein used a vibrator on them, and some stated that he digitally penetrated them. I have no idea what that means. Somebody's got to tell me that. Some claim he digitally, with like the vibrator? Some victims who stated that they saw him more often alleged that Epstein engaged in oral and vaginal sex. According to one victim, an Epstein female assistant participated on at least one occasion. So he also had an assistant coming in. Was it Maxwell? Somebody came in and participated. The evidence regarding so this is literally what Caroline was talking about today. It's funny I should land upon this. Although allegations varied in the specific details, for the most part they were consistent in describing a general pattern of conduct by Epstein and several of his assistants. So several assistants. According to the information provided to and evidence gathered by the Palm Beach Police Department, Epstein's assistants scheduled up to 3 massage appointments a day, often contacting the girls to make an appointment while Epstein was en route to Palm Beach from his other residences. Typically, when a girl arrived at Epstein's home for a massage, she was taken upstairs to the master bedroom in the bathroom area by Epstein's assistants, who set up a massage table and massage oils. When the assistant left the room, Epstein entered, wearing only a robe or a towel. After removing his clothing, Epstein lay face down nude on the table, instructed the girl to remove her clothing, and explained to her how he wished her to perform the massage. During the massage, Epstein often pleasured himself, often while fondling the girl. Usually Epstein paid the girl $200 for the massage, and if he had not been there to his home before, Epstein asked for her phone number to contact her in the future. Epstein encouraged the girls who performed the massages to find other girls interested in performing massages for them, and each girl would receive $200. Today the number was $300 in court, so I don't know why the discrepancy may be different. I mean, they even said earlier in the report that it was $300, so I'm not sure why there's a discrepancy. It might have just been different victims getting paid different amounts. All right, so we got, is there a beef between the sketch artist and Maxwell? 80% of you agree with me that there is. Oh, Lord. Oh, and again, guys, jump over to t.me/trial talk. We have a tremendous group in there, trying to get information out there or just share information about different trials going on. Try and keep it on topic, but, often, who knows. Digital equals finger? Oh. After reading about the technology and stuff, I figured it meant something different, but what? I was fingers, jackass. Come on, Connie. I was just reading about the technology department of the FBI. Digital came off a little different to me. Okay. Jeez. All right. And again, yeah, I mean, there's so much technology wrapped up in this, and everybody's like, "What's on the hard drives?" Right? I think that one day through a FOIA request they'll have to release whatever's there to the public, but then again, it's probably child related. So, what happens then? Can the FBI even release it? I don't know. Continuing through this DOJ report. Boom. Through the interviews with their victims, the police learned more about Epstein's conduct. I already read that. Bang. And they found computer monitors and keyboards in the home, as well as disconnected surveillance cameras. But the computer equipment itself, including video recordings and other electronic storage media, were gone. Nonetheless, the Bay Beach Police Department retrieved some evidence from Epstein's home, including notepads on which Epstein's assistants documented messages from many girls over the 2-year span, returning phone calls to confirm appointments. The police also found numerous photographs of naked young females of intermittent age. Police photographs taken of the interior of Epstein's home corroborated the victims' descriptions to the police of the layout of the home, of the master bedroom and bathroom area. The police also found massage tables and oils, one victim's high school transcript, and items that the police believed to be sex toys. And I think that image came up today in the court. I saw it earlier. Let me see if I can pull it up without taking forever. Boom, yeah. I think the image is so funny because literally what I'm reading from right now is I'm just reading it as I go through and have time to highlight some points that I want to bring up. This is literally what was being discussed today by Caroline. I think Caroline was actually the one I was just reading about. So that's wild that would line up just like that. I do have a picture of what I believe in the craziest part still is what I was just reading there with the high school diploma. I think they have a picture of it that I just found today. Window. No. I'm going to leave that up. But, image. Let me pull that up for you guys. Browse. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, this is just... All right, so here's a picture of the CDs. I don't know what those are over to the right. I zoomed in. The picture's not that good. This is Government Exhibit 926. And so you see the CDs in the middle, okay? And then over here is the diploma. How wild is that? This was printed last year, and it's Jesus. How wild is that? There's the diploma sitting right there in the corner of this drawer. The image quality is really bad, so even if you had the original, I don't think you could zoom in and read anything. I did try to read some of the CDs, but that's the diploma. How wild is that? That's the diploma I was just reading about over here in the DOJ report. Boom. That's crazy. I'll cover my face up with that for a moment. Yeah, that's fine. I'll jump over here. Actually, you know what? No. Boom. This one I do. It's not like you guys can read it anyways. Or even want to. Boom. So I'll get the title up there. I'm pretty much done reading it anyhow, though. Anyways, I don't know why I'm messing with that so much. It's not like it matters. I didn't read further than that. So I think that was Caroline's testimony, the earlier complaint. I think that might be what they were using today to cross-examine, or yesterday to cross-examine her. Yesterday, sorry. Yesterday to cross-examine her was, they said you made statements to the FBI. Why are they different now? And she was like, well, I didn't expect them to show up to my home. So I think this was referring to Caroline's testimony, but it doesn't say. It just says a 14-year-old girl who claimed somebody was giving her $300, whose parents claimed that she was getting $300 to give him a massage, Epstein a massage, which is the testimony we heard today. And then the diploma was somehow mentioned in court. And that's what we're just reading about. Yeah, I'm not going to keep reading this because I'll read more Friday. I think I'm going to do so I'm going to keep doing this, guys, a midweek thing because there's not but so much you can cover each day. So I'll do like a midweek and then an end of the week recap of the week. And each time I'll keep going through this somewhat. God only knows how far I'll get each time. But that's so crazy what I had highlighted was what happened yesterday. Oh, and the rundown live. So some people are getting their hands on actual transcripts of the court from the clerk. I wanted to cover that. And then we'll see if Inner City Press got anything new. The rundown live has got... He's getting the transcripts up. I don't know how long it takes to find them or even where he's getting them from. So again, this is the press working its buns off, dude. This guy, prolific reporter, he's in Kenosha, Wisconsin during the Rittenhouse incident. He testified on the stand at Rittenhouse. And now he's going out there. He's like, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go cover this. And he's getting the transcripts somehow, which are way too long for me to even imagine going through. But I'll point you guys out to them. I don't know. You can in the Telegram group. I'll pin it to the top. I'll put it in the Telegram group later and pin it to the top. That way you guys can get them. So join that Telegram group. t.me/trial talk. Boom. Window capture. Let me get you guys over here. Chrome. Boom. All right. So. Yes, rundown live. Boom. Homeboy, got Epstein with his eyes crossed out there. He's got the transcripts from day 2 and day 3 on his site. And they're each like 100-something pages. I haven't even had a chance to look. What? There we go. What in the world was that about? Okay, boom. Yeah, so he's got the transcripts right there. You can see that one's 129 pages. And the other one's 74. It might not, I don't know how he's getting them, but go check him out. He's also now, the first day that I was on here, he came into the chat coincidentally and said he was going out there to cover this. So, and he's out there now. He's made it. He said he was going to try, well, last night I caught his stream. He said he's going to try and get in there today. I don't know if he has or not. And again, we have, New York Nadia has been doing an amazing job recapping it. And she does a really good job of not being negative about it and, trying not to demoralize and break your soul while you listen to her. So I really like her coverage. Drop the link. I'll put it in the Telegram group, Connie. It's long. Or somebody will put it in there. Actually, I can put it in there right now. Duh. Forgot I have Telegram on my computer now. I'll put it in there right now. t.me/trial talk. Boom. Rundown live. Bang. Oh, sorry, lightning bug. Pop that in there now. And lightning bug got the oh yeah, I saw it up there. Boom. So that's in the, I'll pin it to the top. Yeah, I'll pin it when I'm not on my computer. Yeah, but you can find that in there now. Bang. The rundown live. Bang. Okay. And went through that DOJ report. So, Monday, very controversial witness. Wasn't underage technically in the United States. So that, she's not a part of the complainants against Maxwell. And people thought that was weird. She set up a member of the royal family to buy cocaine from her for a tabloid. So just, real weird things. All right, let me wrap up. Oh, so I'm basically wrapped up, to be honest, guys. Oh, and then yesterday, Caroline. Oh, sorry, guys. So many things. I have to have so many things in my mind so that I can keep talking that I get a little distracted sometimes, as you might have noticed. All right, let me see. Let's see if there's any. Get rid of her now. As hilarious as that photo is, so I can blow this up for you guys. When I started the show an hour ago, they were currently at a break, and not much has happened today. But yesterday we had Caroline, really compelling witness, so that's why I was going with that. But boom, let's see. All right. All right, so somebody news on the stand. So earlier during the break, Mr. Rogers testifying, the second pilot, not nearly as viscous and slippery as the other one, I'm sure, but good Lord. Sorry I'm changing it so much, guys. I got to blow it up so I can read it. It goes different every time. Don't look at the screen. I'm sure it's going to cause you guys to get motion sick. Oh, Lord. All right, let me just get the text over here. You guys, I'll read it aloud, so don't even worry about it reading it. All right, let's jump in. Rogers logbook. I kept the logbook. So Rogers, I don't think he's going to get into flying everywhere, putting electronics everywhere for whatever reason, but he's got a logbook. And this is not to be confused with Mr. Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. That man is a saint, so don't even. That man was nowhere near the situation. So Rogers, we mostly flew between his houses. From 1991, he had a smaller plane, then a Gulfstream, then a Cessna 421, followed by a Boeing 727. How does a private individual have a Boeing 727? I mean, where was he? If this dude was doing this 3 girls a day, how did he have time to make money, and where was that money coming from? Was a question that kept coming in my head. Where is he getting the money from? Okay, so because a lot of people have, quote, conspiracy theories about what he was really doing, where was his money coming from? That's a big question, should be answered. On the Gulfstream, what was the divider there? There was a door always closed. So he always had the door closed on this plane. I kept a logbook, including passengers' names. So they offered the prosecution offers the logbook into evidence as a sealed exhibit. Prosecution. Wonder why they issued that in sealed. It's just a logbook with names. I wonder why. See, this is the kind of stuff that makes people like, oh, she's Comey's daughter. Well, I don't argue with you on that one. That's kind of weird. They would seal that as evidence, but I guess it's not her choice either. Entirely. How did you find the names of the passengers? Sometimes we'd be told. Would you always know? No. Boy, you better back off. Finally, jury back in their chairs. Rogers' logbook, as shown on the screen, has an entire column of passengers' names redacted or blacked out. Press question. Is there really a reasonable expectation of privacy for flying on a private jet of a pedophile? Intercity Press asking real questions here. Rogers, I kept the logbook including passenger names. We offered a logbook and a sealed exhibit. We mostly flew between his houses. All right. Oh, I didn't hit the freaking thing? Oh, Lord. I thought I hit the thread there. All right. Boom. Let's look at Exhibit 662. at page 444. Flight number 916. Who drove passengers to the plane from Palm Beach? Juan Alasi. He was the guy that testified the other day. He was stealing from Epstein, and he worked for him for years. In this flight from Palm Beach to New Jersey, Jane was on the flight by the first name. Were the others on the flight? Are there others on the flight? Yes. Let's move on to another flight. Who else was not disclosed nor asked on redirect? Flight 818, Rogers from Van Nuys, California to Santa Fe, New Mexico. Only Jeffrey on that flight. How many times do you remember Virginia Roberts flying on the Epstein's planes? And we keep seeing her name come up. I think she might be the next witness to testify against Maxwell. 32 times she was on that plane. This flight from St. Thomas, where Jeffrey Epstein, Maxwell, and Roberts, were they passengers? Yes. And there was one other person on the flight? Yes. Let's move to another flight. The additional passenger was undisclosed. And this flight from Spain to Tangier, Morocco. Epstein and Maxwell were on the flight. Now, cross-examination. Maxwell's attorney. Sometimes the cockpit door was open. Did you see the passengers? Yes. And you did that sometimes? Yes. Yes. You never found in the cabin any sex toys used or condoms, right? No, I did not. And that's where we got with the not so viscous pilot. This is Mr. Rogers, not to be confused with the legend, Mr. Rogers, okay? You never found, yeah, so nothing's happened. All right, that'll wrap that up. So we'll cover whatever happens the rest of today on Friday. And I want to just mention, I might do Zark Muckerberg, good to see you again. And name's unforgettable. Comey's daughter also lost the video evidence of Epstein's suicide. Oh, did she? Okay. Connie, just so you know, when you cuss, the thing automatically blocks it. Not that I care necessarily. It's just what YouTube does. And then I have to filter through, and I often don't. Because you said you can drop and throw big things out the door of a 727. That's true. That's true. Oh, what I wanted to talk about today, I might just do a different stream on this at some point, because really my main thing before this was trying to cover all these vaccine mandates and the challenges in court. And there's been a lot happening. New York City is extending their vaccine requirement to minors as young as 5, as far as the passport goes. But also a court yesterday has stayed part of the mandate in New York City, at least for the New York City workers. And also Biden's executive order was stayed against the vaccine for the vaccine mandates in a different way. To my knowledge, the OSHA requirements stemmed from this order 14042, and they were already blocked at the OSHA level. But this new case blocks them at the executive order level itself, calling that unconstitutional. I'll probably do a stream on that sometime. But, only time will tell. If you want to see that coverage, just healinglaw.com. Pop on over there. And I also put that in t.me/trial talk. That'll wrap it up for today, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Friday, I'll do a recap of the whole week. Till then, take care.